the thing that makes all businesses and grow and businessmen wealthy is something called supplier's credit. If you write it down, it will make you very wealthy. Supplier's credit. Supplier's credit is where you find that one supplier who you see has everything you want to deal in, and you make sure the owner of that business knows you. When you come to buy, you go and greet him. He sees you buy things of 1 million, 2 million, 3 million, 5 million, 6 million, 7 million, 8 million, 9 million, 10 million. Then by the time you've shopped from him things worth 10 million, he knows you by name, by face, and has your number. He has created rapport. Because he has created rapport, the next time you come to buy things of 2 million, he will give you things of 2 million, and he will also allow you take things of 500,000 on credit. If you earn a salary of 1 million, why don't you get a salary loan? Why don't you get a salary loan? When you get a salary loan, you buy Uber, someone drives that. You get a salary loan of approximately, I think they can give you 15 million. Anyway, you will check. But you can get a salary. If you can access 15 million, you can get a very good working room or spatio of 15 million, and have someone drive Uber such that they make you 800,000 a month from driving your car. You buy that car for Uber, but you give the driver a task to pick you, and also, if possible, to drop you. Before they go on all the other things, they pick you or drop you, such that you cut on the expense of transport. But the idea is a salary loan can help an employee grow the money, as long as where you've put the money, it's in an asset which is going to bring in money. So I wouldn't advise you to start by saving money to maybe buy land. No. You should start with saving money to put in an asset that will bring in more money. Why don't you have someone, you could have a Rolex store. A Rolex store requires you to start it with like 700,000. But that Rolex store can make you like 15K a day. Imagine having 3 Rolex stores which give you 45K a day. That's the same thought process MTN and Airtel had, which they still have today. That let's sell airtime worth 200 shillings. Let's sell data bundle worth 200. Someone who is earning 1 million shillings in Uganda, I think they are able to save approximately. Then there is black tax, relatives and friends. Then if you're the firstborn, you're the deputy parent. That 1 million you're earning as a salary as a fresh graduate, you might be able to save only 100K. But if you can save 100K, find a way of making sure every cost goes in 70% of that one, of the money that stays. The net income, make sure you only spend on 70% of your net income. So if you earn 1 million, and after deduction of taxes, after deduction of Social Security, you have you have like how much? Like 800,000. 70% of it is 560. 560 is where you're supposed to find transport, rent, and food. Transport, rent, food. Then the remaining, which is like 240, roughly 150. Start saving the 150 per month, such that at the end of the year you have 1.8. If you have 1.8, you can run that 1.8 twice. The people who created education, they did not intend that education would make anyone to get a job such that they become wealthy. The creators of education intended that the mind is changed. So, the creators of education, especially formal education, intended that once someone tests on education, it becomes like a drug. It becomes like cocaine. Abaleeta okusoma baayagala okusoma kubeere ng'enjaga nga kasitogeza n'olowoozaako bwe pa ng'obwongo bukyuka. That's why you see a person who is educated, the only way you will know that a person is educated, they will act in a way to showcase that the brain changed in thinking. You get the idea? The more someone gets educated and the education does its job of tweaking the mind, making it spark, they start thinking differently and they do things differently for the betterment. So giving them a job comes as a consequence or as a by the way. Okusanga omuntu gwe bawadde omulimu kuba yasoma, eyo ebeera by the way. Abaakola okusoma bo baali baagala obwongo bwaffe bukyuke mu birowoozo. Kuba kasitogeza n'okyusa ebirowoozo okyukirawo. Look at the friends who did not know how to save and they were educated from the... This is the best business model for every form of business. Especially if you want to start with zero money. When we tell people you can start a business with zero money, because their brain hasn't conceptualized it, they say, we are scammers. Motivational speaker, they are scammers. How can you start a business with zero money? Did you know that a person might be selling a building, but they do not have a buyer? And another person wants to buy a building, but they do not know who is selling. You having that knowledge of a buyer and seller puts you in John 14:6. You are the way, the truth, and the life. No one can sell their building unless through you. You are the way, the truth, and the life. No one can buy a building unless through you. That's John chapter 14, verse 6. No one will teach you like I do. Even if they tried, they won't be having 4 degrees like I do, even if they tried. Even if you found a teacher like me with 4 degrees, all those degrees, they won't be in statistics, in technology, a master's in information security from University of London, and a degree in law. They won't be lawyers. No chance they will have 4 degrees and one of them is law. No chance they will have a first class from University of London, a degree certified by the British Secret Service. So I'm not a joke like you would want to presume. Newton Buteraba House of Wealth. I'm happy you are here. Do you want to know how much you should pay yourself? This is something you should do. Ask yourself this question. If I left an individual to handle this business when I'm away, let's say I've gone for burial, I've gone for a party, I've gone for holiday, I am sick, I am down, I'm on bed rest, and I asked someone to sit in for me in the retail shop, how much would you pay them? You will be amazed by the amount of money they would pay someone who would sit in their shoes. They will tell you, I'll give that person 300,000 Ugandan shillings a month to do the work I would have done, or 500,000 or 700,000. That is usually almost the estimate you should pay yourself. If you are self-employed and you start up your business, you need to pay yourself in two ways. The first way is you pay yourself a salary, and it is in the estimate of what you would have given the other person if they were able to do what you're doing in that shop when you are away. Okay, it's just an estimate. Let's say you would give someone 500,000 to sit in for you at the shop while you are away for a month. Then if you are the one to sit there, maybe you give yourself 600 or 700. But don't give yourself 1 million shillings, 2 million. Yet the work you are doing, you would have given another person 500,000 or 400 or 300. There it would be better you sit back and you hire someone to be doing that work. You get the idea. So I have said you pay yourself twice. It's usually very good to start business where already other people have started a business. Why? Because when you're in a place where other people have already started businesses, it gives you a chance to lower your marketing budget or marketing expenditure. Let me repeat that. If you start a business in a place where there are already other similar businesses, it will give you a chance not to overspend or to even spend any amount on marketing. Because usually marketing as one of the most important arms for any business. It means when you're secluded somewhere alone, you will have to market such that people get to know you before they come to buy. You the idea. So you look for where people are already selling and you join them and you do these three things. You have to be faster, cheaper, and nicer. These three things beat any competition anywhere in the world in any form of relationship. You have to be nicer, cheaper, and faster. Remember, all these people are running businesses. So people know that's where we find. For example, in Uganda, we know if you want to do printing business, you go to Nasa Road. If you want computers, Kampala Road. If you want building materials, industrial area. You see, because it's already in the minds of people. If you want fruits, Nakasero Market. So it means if you're in Nakasero, you do not need a billboard to show people you're selling mangoes. It is already in the minds of the people that if I come to Nakasero, I will find mangoes, oranges, pineapples, watermelons. When you get someone to be a worker, the relationship starts at hello. Have you agreed on the salary? Have you agreed on what you expect from them? So salary. So you hire a worker, you tell them what you expect from them, and you attach a salary to these expectations. And you have to be strict. So if I say I've hired you to be the askari for for this hotel, I will expect you to be here by 7 a.m. And if you're here by 7 a.m., I want you to check whomsoever enters. No one enters without first checking them. I want you to be able to be ready in case of anyone who tries to cause chaos, such that you de-escalate the chaos. And you monitor that. Are they arriving on time? Are they alert? You tell them, I do not want alcohol. The moment they come and they want, you see them drinking and all that, you tell them, this is not what we agreed. Make sure you pay them on time. The moment you change your words from what you agreed with the workers, that's where the chaos starts. How do I manage a business when I'm abroad? And would you advise someone to go for it? I've never advised people to do business while they are abroad. I will stand on that hill. I've always told people, and that's me, that's my take. If anyone asks me if they are abroad, I always tell them that do not do a business while you are abroad, while you are away. The best I advise people to do is to invest, because business requires a certain level of honesty, and that's a very rare quality in Ugandans today. Honesty is a very rare quality in Uganda today. You will have your relatives, friends, or business partners run business for you here, but if they are not honest, they will report wrong things. You will hear stories of them constructing from your business. So, to avoid the headache, get the money from abroad, invest it. When you return, do the business with the people you want to do business with. When you're there, it's very simple. Otherwise, they will be telling you, if they are running a farm, they will be telling you these goats died, this cattle is sick, this supplier has increased prices, and you can't keep tabs on all that. So I usually advise people, if I were abroad, I would be just making money and investing it in real estate, probably land, or if the money exists, I buy a building, or I put in a unit trust. If I do not want to buy land, if I have failed to find people like me they can trust. So that would mean that the land you've bought is to be sold when you return to get some cash, and then you start that business. Why are we still broke yet we get paid? We are still broke yet we get paid because of a number of reasons. Number one, you could find that the amount of money you earn, you move out of what we call your means. You move out of what you call your means. You could also find that your expenditure by far beats your income. Think about what I call the think think about what I called the you remember when I talked about the leaking jerry can theory. So imagine if this is a tank, and the water I pour in the tank is the salary I'm earning. No matter the salary you earn, if this vessel which is getting the salary has a lot of leakages, no amount of water that enters here will stay for sustainability, for longevity. You get the idea? So the plan is you have to make sure that before you increase what is coming in here, you first think about closing the leakages of the jerry cans. When you close the leakages, it means now you can retain some water in this vessel. Now, very many people think they would just increase the water that comes into the vessel. Increasing the water in the vessel when you've not closed the leakages on the vessel means even if we give you 15 to 20 to 30 years, you will always struggle with the money. How do you know that you've borrowed without borrowing? When the loan you have borrowed is actually going to pay for itself. You've borrowed without borrowing. But the moment you find yourself borrowing and then looking for other forms of money to pay off this loan, you've borrowed while borrowing. And that's a disaster. Then it means you may struggle with the loans. And the loan now might not bring growth or success in your life. Most of the people who have borrowed and the borrowing has helped them grow, they buy a building, but the rent that is coming out of the building is paying the installments for the loan. So he does not have to struggle to pick from their salary or to pick from elsewhere to pay for the loan. You get the idea? So it's the loan paying for itself. That's why it's a good debt. But we have very many people who come and borrow, and after borrowing, you see they have funded the honeymoon. And going for the honeymoon is not bad, but funding it with a loan, that's where I have a problem. A wedding is not bad, but funding a sumptuous wedding on the loan is where I have a problem. Taking kids to expensive schools is not bad, but taking kids to those expensive schools on borrowed money is where I have a problem. Driving a Porsche car is not bad, but driving a Porsche car on borrowed money is where I have a problem. I think people need to understand us very well when we come to teach about money. We are not against you handling your money, using your money, enjoying your money. I'm not against poverty is a prison. Poverty is a prison. When I come to share with you, I want to escape. How do you know that poverty is a prison? Because poverty takes choices away from you. How do you know that you're in prison? They take choices away from you. The psychology of a prison is to take choices away from you. When you go to prison, you can't wear the clothes you want. You can't eat the food you want. You can't sleep with the people you want. You can't sleep in the house you want. You can't even go to the places you want. You are surrounded by long walls. You can't make a call to the people you want. The people you want can't even visit you. So the psychology of a prison is to take choices away from you. And that's what, when we do not have money, that's what poverty, that's what brokenness does. It just takes away your choices. You sleep hungry, you can't eat. You look at your bed, you do not like your bed. You do not like the car you're driving. You do not like the TV, you do not like the phone. You can't even access the ladies or the men you want because of the lack of choices which is brought about by brokenness. So when I come to share, I'm sharing tips, wisdom, the things I've gone through to help you escape. And these things are basic. I do not have to be the richest man to tell you that I do not have any debt. You can also live without any debt, such that you get sound sleep. Or when you get a debt, when the debt is by choice and it is manageable, you can run through it. You get the idea? When you are on the journey to make wealth, you will receive. You will receive in a time that might not be obvious to you. You just keep walking. Now, that is the Bible. When I come to the real life, in the real life, I have realized that it actually takes 10, it takes 5, 10, 15 years to actually see what we would call astronomical success. Usually after 15 years, 10 to 15 years. Why? Because you would spend the whole entire first 5 years hustling, 5 to 10 years trying to really understand. After those 10 years, you're really good to go. So those 10 to 15 years, you're doing things, doing them so well. So if you took lessons from 1 to 5, if you took lessons from 1 to 5 and you learned very well, it means the remaining 10 years are for you to grow the money. That's why after 15 years, you find yourself with a lot of money. But it's because you've mastered a lot of mistakes, and now you're no longer doing the mistakes. So you need to give yourself time. You need to give yourself time. Professor. I find myself giving too much. Family, friends are on my neck. Budget. Do a budget and say, this is my amount of money. 70% will be my means, but 20%, maybe a percentage like 20, like 15, like 30, will go to charity. So everyone, church, friends, family, they will be limited. So if I have a salary of 1 million and I put 20% for charity, if I put 20% for charity, then it means 200,000 will be the only money available to go to people who I'm helping out. Then the rest, I'm also struggling through life. Uganda is ranked among like 100 and it's in 130 for ease of doing business. It's really a bit hard to do business in Uganda because of the dishonesty of the people, because of the systems that do not protect the people who are into business. For example, if you try to go to court to solve a case from court, you'll find that it might take a long time before you get an answer. As long as it takes a lot of time before you get an answer, what that means is your business struggles and it might die a natural death. So that's why in Uganda it's really a bit hard, but it is also elsewhere. The other countries might have systems that make it easy to do business, where you find the banking system lends fairly, the court system expedites the decision of cases, the people are a bit honest, which those are some of the things we lack. So if people are dishonest in Uganda, it means you will have employees who are stealing from you. Suppliers are dishonest. They keep on supplying things which can't work for you. When you go to court and the court delays, it means you are going to also struggle. You get the idea. So with that being said, you have to, I usually encourage people to dig the same hole deeper, which is Luke 5:4, which is our motto in St. Mary's College, Subi, Duc in Altum, to mean launch in the deep. When you dig the same hole deeper, imagine 5 years experience in doing that particular thing, 7 years experience in doing that particular thing. If I'm working a 9 to 5 and I would like to transition into a side hustle business steadily, what strategic steps? You will need to first do research about what you want to transition into. Study the market. Study the market and understand the market of what you want to transition into. The moment you enter what you want to transition into and you're not selling, you will run out of cash flow, then you will borrow, then you will lack money, then you will start to find yourself writing CVs again to go into 9 to 5. So study the market and understand who wants whatever you want to sell. Mr. Price is saying, at what age? So study the market. When you study the market, keep your savings. Mosoga, study the market, keep your savings. When you grow your savings, it will give you a chance to start without borrowing. Matthew 5:28. Let me read for you what it says. It says, "But I say to you that whoever looks at a woman to lust for her has already committed adultery with her in his heart." You see, the belief system of Christianity is also telling us that whatever, whomsoever, if you're a man and you look at a woman lustfully, you just look at a woman and you put in your mind that you're engaging in sexual intercourse with the woman, you've already committed sin in the belief system of Christianity. So in Christianity, everything starts in the mind. Everything starts in the mind. If you want to think that you are poor, it will start in the mind. If for you you think you won't pass the exam, it will start in the mind. Because if you start thinking that you won't pass the exam, you've bound the exam on earth and it will be bound in heaven. So you have to read Matthew 5:25 and you juxtapose it with Matthew 18:18. That's the Christianity thought process or the belief system.